Week 5, early lines and opinions. Of course, on this show, we don't just go through the lines and read them off or anything like that. We kind of look at the games, give our first take. Last week, going through and giving our first take, I think a lot of games stuck with me. It got me on a lot of winners. Some of the games I got off of by game day, and I bet them, didn't give them out as premium picks, but hopefully you guys stuck with them. I know, Joe, one of the games that we agreed on last week was SMU and TCU, and I got off it on a premium pick. I know you gave it as a premium, so that was a good one. And then I liked Nebraska a ton last week, and West Virginia with the points, Arkansas, all those ones were not premium picks, but picks that we gave out on the show that you could have gotten really good lines on. None of them did it matter, I believe. All of them were well within the number at the time, and I believe we have that kind of games this week.
We absolutely do.
I'm excited for this week's card. Got a lot of good stuff going on. PickDawgz. We have a lot of new things that I always say this, but we really do have a lot of new things going on. It's just sometimes things take a little longer than we hope, but at the same time, they eventually get there. We're running a marathon, not a sprint here. But, of course, this is our college football preview show. Opening lines and opinions. We know other people do this where they just kind of read off the lines and say, oh, it's going to move or it's not going to move. On our show, we kind of just look at the games. We give a pick right out of the gate, just saying, I would take them. And then, of course, no research or very little research done. And then, at least on my side. And, by the end of the week, my opinion could easily change, but we'll see how it goes. So we have weekday college football, Thursday and Friday, 4 games total. Miami, Virginia on Thursday, Tulsa, Houston, Maryland, Iowa, and Utah State, BYU on Friday. Joe, any of these games that you dialed in on already? Because so far on all of these games, the only one that's had a major line move is the Utah State BYU game, down from 8.5 to 7.5.
Yeah, so looking at these games, I am interested in the over in this Thursday night game. I know both of these teams, they normally do hit the over. Virginia, I think, is 5-2 when they are on the road to that over number, and the Cavaliers are 4-1 at home for that over. So I'm liking this over to come in.
So King for Miami was injured last game, and this guy's been injured almost as much as Christian McCaffrey in recent years. Just seems he's always injured. He's a 6th-year senior. That pretty much tells you everything that you need to know in that area. So, the Canes do have tons of fast players at skills positions, and, the defense has been vulnerable like we saw against Michigan State. So I could definitely see an over. I think Virginia is going, they are an offensive team with Bronco Mendenhall. So, I could see an over in this spot.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I think 62.5 is a gift in this one. So I'm actually surprised it's that low.
Yeah, Miami just not quite up to Miami standards. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It looks like Knighton will be back for Miami at running back. That should help out a little bit too. Of course, he's suspended, but what else is new?
Yeah.
I think.
And then the Friday.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the Friday night is another one that's interesting for me. I actually like the favorite on the road. I didn't think Houston was going to be a favorite coming into this at 3.5. I thought much higher. So I like this 3.5 number for them.
I think the heat is on Dana Holgerson in Houston, and, winning the games like this against Tulsa going to be pretty mandatory. They lost that opener to Texas Tech, and since then they've reeled off 3 straight wins. Tulsa looked good in spots. They looked good against Ohio State. They looked good against Oklahoma State, but did not win either of those games. Oh boy, I've seen some hideous officiating in Tulsa over the years, so I don't know. This game might be a stay away from me situation. It's just I've seen the Dirty Tricks Committee come out in Tulsa, and boy, I wouldn't be surprised to see it here because you have 2 other games around it that are a little bit more, spotlight games with Maryland and Iowa and Utah State and BYU. Of course, Utah State BYU is in-state matchup, and we saw BYU in the fourth quarter last week, or the second half against USF, start to give it up, and it'll be interesting to see if Utah State's able to crack them.
I think they can hang with them. I would definitely look at Utah State plus the points. Unsure if I would risk it on the money line. Would you risk it at money line for them?
I don't think so. I don't think I would take it. Utah State coming off of that 27-3 loss to Boise State, but a win over BYU would certainly change all that. I might be able to by Friday. I'm not that difficult to talk into a money line dog, especially at home. So it's definitely a possibility. Move into Saturday, the early games. Toledo and UMass, that line is stuck at 26. North Carolina 18 over Duke. Wisconsin going from a 1-point favorite to a 1-point dog at home against Michigan in Madison. Just after that display against Notre Dame, just Paul Chryst, I questioned his coaching going into the game. I question it even more now. We have Illinois hosting Charlotte. Got to be that has to be homecoming.
Yeah.
In Champaign. Temple 11.5, plus 11.5 against Memphis. Buffalo plus 6 at home against Western Michigan. TCU plus 5 at home against Texas. I believe they've played Texas extremely tough over the years. We'll have to dig into that thing. Georgia minus 18.5 at home against that upstart Arkansas team that's played the heavy-duty schedule, beating Texas and Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech plus 3.5 against Pitt. The line's stuck there. Purdue minus 2.5 against Minnesota. Minnesota losing last week to Bowling Green, 33-1 odds on the payout on that for a money line dog. I know James Clark hit that bet. He showed me his ticket. Missouri minus 3 against Tennessee. Wake minus 6.5 over Louisville. Now there's an over for me, 61.5 in that one. I know Joe likes her totals.
I like that.
Any of these?
I like that one a lot.
Any of these other early games?
You know what? This Texas one, I'm really loving what I'm seeing out of the Texas Longhorns right now. I think they cover the spread easily in this matchup. I know they are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games. I think they're getting undervalued in this situation, and I thought they would have been a lot higher of a favorite in this one.
I'm on the other side on this one. I like TCU. Gary Patterson is one of my favorite head coaches, and Steve Sarkisian, one of my least favorite head coaches. TCU looks at this game like their Super Bowl. They hate Texas's guts. I mean, this is like, if you play in the state of Texas and you're not at Texas, then you're second, third, fourth, fifth fiddle to Texas. And those teams, they take it personally. And Gary Patterson, why is he one of the highest paid coaches in college football? Even though he coaches at TCU, because he beats Texas every freaking year. They've covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the last 7 years against Texas. They did it. They were only favored in 2 of those games.
Okay.
So they have been. I mean, last year they were 11-point dogs against the Horns, beat them by 2. That one was at home in El Paso, and then the year before, 1.5-point favorites against Texas, beat them by 10. Texas got them the year before that in El Paso. Then the year before that in Austin, TCU 7.5-point favorite, wins by 17. The year before that, TCU in Austin again, 3-point dog, beat them outright. Yeah, Gary Patterson's had tremendous luck. I'm anti-Sarkisian. Probably has more to do with it than handicapping this actual game, so take it for what it's worth.
Do you have faith in their defense right now for TCU?
Well, I think Gary Patterson, traditionally has a good defense and he has a good pass rush. I don't think that they played well last week against SMU. I think they were maybe looking ahead to this game. They are 80th ranked in the nation and 99th against the run. That is a problem. But Texas also, 93rd against the run, so they're no bargain either. And Texas offense 7th in the nation in rushing. TCU 28th in rushing, over 206 yards. This is an over.
Definitely has overspelt all over it as soon as you read out those numbers.
This is an over. Texas averaging 46.8 points per game. TCU averaging 37.7. Yeah, this is an over. What is it at? 66 and a half.
66. Yeah.
I always try, when they get to those big numbers, I always try and figure out how many touchdowns that is.
Yeah.
Nine
Right.
touchdowns. Oh, more than, it's 9 touchdowns, a field goal, and a safety.
Yeah.
To get there.
And this is where then I like starting to break down which team I think will get the most of those and then looking at their team total. Because I love betting those team totals.
I mean, the Texas defense is a sieve.
Yeah.
They're 81st against the pass.
Yeah.
Terrible.
They're struggling in that area.
Yeah,
but they're able to put up the points. So
you're right. Steve Sarkisian is a miserable man and coach. He actually seems like he's a nice guy. That's the whole
Are you
problem.
putting words in my mouth? I did not say that.
No, he actually is probably a good guy. It's like the flip-flop wearing coach.
Yeah.
Which was a strange choice for the Horns.
Yeah, there's so many good games. What do you think of Minnesota and Purdue? This one's got a low total of 47.5.
Well, Minnesota's
yeah.
down. I mean, that loss to Bowling Green is about as low as it gets. And, we saw them beat Cal, but, it's just tough. It's like they played well against Ohio State, but the problem is when you have an opener like that and then you lose, we saw it with Florida State against Notre Dame, it kind of sucks the wind out of your sail.
Yeah, it would. It most definitely would.
I'm going to take Purdue at home.
I think Purdue gets this one at home.
I'll take Purdue at home. Rondell Moore played well yesterday for the Cardinals. So.
Well, Purdue isn't covering the spread, but I think they break that trend here. They're only 2-7 against the spread in their last 9, but this spread is low at 2.5. I think they've got it. Field goal. If this went up to 3.5, I wouldn't like it, but at 2.5, I love it.
I like it. It's at 2.5. I'm gonna write Purdue down. I'm gonna bet. I might bet a little something on this one. Missouri -3 against Tennessee. Missouri kicked that field goal to get to overtime against Boston College and then lost in overtime, throwing an interception into the end zone. It was just a horrific play call there. It was like everything they were doing was working, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like Boston College scores the touchdown in overtime. I had Boston College, and it was a premium pick, all that kind of good stuff. So it was I'm fine with it, but I just don't understand it. The decision there to throw that pass into the end zone when you didn't have to do that. You knew what you had to do, so you were in 4-down territory no matter what. Just didn't make a lot of sense. I think they threw it on 1st down.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not convinced on what I'm seeing out of Tennessee's defense right now. They're not doing a lot on that side of the ball. So this one, I'm not sure looking at it right now.
I like the under in Georgia, Arkansas, 49, and both these teams, serious ass defenses. I mean, Arkansas is ranked 12th in the nation, but look at who they've played. They played Texas and Texas A&M, and they're still ranked 12th in the nation in defense, allowing just 267.3 yards per game. Georgia, number 1 in the nation, allowing 185 yards a game, 115 through the air. That's crazy. Arkansas has allowed 144.3 yards passing. They played Texas and Texas A&M, and that's how much they've allowed. These are two good teams. I expect this one to be a war between the Hedges and Athens. I'm gonna take the under.
I like the under 48.5 in this. I think it's a solid bet. Would you be leaning on either side of this? It's a huge spread for an under 18.5.
I think Arkansas is going to struggle to score points, but we've seen them run the football. But Georgia, they don't allow much on the ground. So I mean, I'd probably take the points.
Take the points with Arkansas?
Yeah, I think so.
I could see that.
I don't think Georgia can put that.
Georgia has not been covering. Georgia's 2-5 in the last 7 against the spread.
It's a big number.
Yeah. Arkansas is 5-1 against the spread in their last 6.
Arkansas plays a brutal schedule. I mean, they play just a brutal.
They do. Whoever made the schedule for them is not an Arkansas fan.
No, I want to see who they have. I mean, teams. Let's see. It's just the So the Arkansas schedule, they played Rice, then Texas, Georgia Southern, Texas A&M. Now Georgia, Ole Miss, Auburn, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Mississippi State, LSU, Alabama, Missouri. That's running the gauntlet. You got Georgia, who's number 2, Alabama number 1, Texas A&M was 7th when they played them, and Texas was 15th when they played them.
I feel for them.
Yep. Plus, their easy games are Mississippi State and at LSU. And then they play in that Friday after Thanksgiving, one of my favorite days of the year. They play Missouri in that one in the CBS game.
It's going to be a great day. I can't wait.
Yeah, I always love that day.
Yeah. You know what? I think I've got to take Wake over Louisville this weekend. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Wake.
Dave Clawson's done a great job there. I really think that Louisville also, I think they've done a pretty good job too, because they looked pretty lousy in that first game against Ole Miss, and now all of a sudden they look like a legitimate football team.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a fun game. This one is definitely bookmarked on my calendar to make sure it's on one of the TVs.
It's back-to-back road games for Louisville after playing last week at Florida State, so it's a tough spot for them too.
Yeah.
I like Wake in that too.
Yeah, home advantage, home crowd. Is it homecoming in Wake?
I doubt it with Louisville. I don't know. 4-0 meets 3-1. I mean, these guys are like in first place in the ACC now. They have to be, with Clemson losing now twice.
It was good to see Clemson lose the other day. They just did me dirty against Ohio State 1 year. That's it.
They've won me a lot of money through the years. I didn't have them in that game. We all had NC State, so I was good on that. And I certainly don't owe them anything, but they
they are a good team.
They'll be back.
Yeah.
We got
will.
Georgia State taking on App State, USC and Colorado, Notre Dame and Cincinnati. This is the big one. Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Monroe, Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, Alabama, Ole Miss. A lot of MAC games. Ohio State, Rutgers, Florida State, Syracuse. I love Syracuse in that one. South Carolina, Troy, Oklahoma, Kansas State. Kansas State traditionally gives Oklahoma fits. West Virginia, Texas Tech, and a bunch of other smaller games. Stanford, Oregon, all in the next time slot.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be some good games in this time slot. I'm looking at this Coastal Carolina. I like betting the Coastal Carolina games. I think this is too many points for them in this matchup. 34.5, that's looking really high against the University of Louisiana. I think I can see an under game in this too, 57.5. I think, I would take the under right away before that creeps up. Actually, no, I think people are going to think it's going to go over. So I can see this actually going over. I'd wait on this one.
I like the under, but I really like Coastal here. I think they're going to blow them out of the building. Louisiana Monroe just stinks. I mean, last year they really were terrible, but this year actually they're coming off of a win against Troy. They were a 23.5-point dog, won 29-16 outright in that one. I think they're going to get stomped here by Coastal, who's on a mission.
They absolutely are.
They are on a mission. I would look out. I'll be singing the Bun Bun the Rabbit song. You can normally do Coastal games.
I like it. Okay, so I know you got the win with Notre Dame this weekend. Congratulations on that. What do you think of Notre Dame and Cincinnati? We've got a 1-point spread.
Well, it's such a big game for Cincinnati. It's a big game for both teams, but I really think that Cincinnati, we've seen them in these step-up spots throughout the years, and they've never really kind of gotten over the hump in these things. So this is the year. I mean, this is their chance. This is the group of five or the non-group of five chance, and Notre Dame coming off that big win, against Wisconsin. It is a letdown spot, but Cincinnati, oh man, they're physical. This is going to be a good game. I'm going to root for Cincinnati, but I think Notre Dame might beat the play.
Yeah, this is a hard one with Notre Dame at home because they do win straight up at home. And with the spread so low, it doesn't even matter if they cover or not. This is just a straight win or not, basically. I think it will be down to a pick 'em by game day, but I'd like to see Cincinnati get it too. It will be a battle, offensively
if Cincinnati
and defensively.
wins, this is going to be the craziest year for the playoffs of any year because you'll have Cincinnati getting in, and then possibly two SEC teams with Georgia and Alabama with a rematch. In that and Oregon, who hasn't been really a regular. Because right now, if you look at it, that's what it shapes up to be. Is Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Cincinnati.
Oh, it'll be fantastic.
A little different,
Yeah.
It'd be a nice change of pace.
Absolutely. Okay, I need your opinion on Oklahoma. I know that you're not really high on Oklahoma so far this year. Huge favorites over at Kansas State of 10.5 points.
I like Kansas State in this one. They've fared well against Oklahoma over the years.
Yeah.
Looks like Skylar Thompson might be ready for this game for Kansas State. And if he is, well, he's a difference maker at quarterback. Of course, Spencer Rattler struggling like crazy at Oklahoma. He was the preseason Heisman favorite, which was ridiculous to begin with. But, they're already calling for his replacement. The fans are, chanting. When they're chanting the backup quarterback's name in the stands, well, it's never a good sign.
It's got to be a terrible feeling. And it's going to be a terrible feeling for that guy.
Well, when you're the Heisman, favorite coming into the season, you put these diamond studs in your ears that are like, bigger than your ears themselves. And, they have, this guy that they brought in, Caleb Williams, is number one, recruited quarterback in the country coming in. So it's not like he's just, some novelty act. He's more than likely the future of this program. So I think Rattler knows that if Williams gets on the field, there's a chance he might never play again. At
for
Oklahoma.
sure.
It's like he might have to transfer.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Kansas State has had good luck against Oklahoma, and the home team has covered 4 of the last 5 times these two have met.
I like it.
Yep. Last year it was 38-35 Kansas State. In 2019, 48-41 Kansas State. Both times as much bigger underdogs than they are here. Last year, 28-point dog, won by 3. 2 years ago, 23.5-point dog, won by a touchdown.
Oh, wow.
So, Oklahoma blew them out in 2018, but 2017, 7-point Oklahoma win as a 14.5-point favorite. Yeah, I like Kansas State here plus the points. I think last week they didn't play great last week. I think they were looking ahead to this one.
Yeah. I agree with you. Do you think we'll see any movement on this? Do you think because everyone rides Oklahoma so hard that we'll see this line move?
I think if we do, then we almost have to take Oklahoma because I think the world kind of knows that Kansas State has their number. They've been dialed in against them. It is their season. I like Syracuse against Florida State. I said it in the other one, 4.5-point favorite. Florida State is. I don't see how Florida State's favored here. 0-4 on the season. That Syracuse rushing attack looks pretty good, and also Syracuse changing up their quarterback as well.
I've been liking what I've been seeing out of Syracuse, most definitely. What was the line on that, Mitch?
4.5.
4.5.
Total is 52. Not seeing that.
Yeah, I would jump on Syracuse for sure, plus the 4.5 points. I really don't have an opinion on this total. Gut instinct is to go over this 52. To me, it screams a high 50s game. Both of these teams can put points on the boards. I know Florida State in the last 3 matchups, Florida State has won 2 of the 3. But I think they even this out. I think Syracuse gets this win in this one.
I'm just reading through the comments, just making sure I keep up with everything there. If you guys don't hear us go over a game and we pass the time slot, just yell it out. I didn't like what I saw from Stanford last week against UCLA, and I think here against Oregon they face a lot more. I never like it when it moves out of that 7 to an 8 point range now, because now it's like past the touchdown, but I still think Oregon has more than enough in this one to take out Stanford and cover. And
what do they need to cover on that one?
8 points. It was 7.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's 8, but
yeah.
I think Stanford just struggles. We saw them struggle against UCLA to stop them. And, against the run, they're allowing 212 yards per game, 118th ranked in the country, while Oregon averages 203.8 yards per game. I could see Mario Cristobal just hammering them with the run. That's his style.
Yeah, I like the over in this one, too. I see a lot of points being scored. We've got a total of 58. I think this easily goes over this number. I know Stanford's been great at getting those over games. I think 11 of 15 have gone to that over.
The quarterback is really good on Stanford.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have. We have... Huh. That was an important call I missed. It's okay. They should know better.
Want to go take it?
No, it's about my surf rack.
That's very important. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm meaning like that is very important. You should probably take that call.
No, what happened is they changed the screw hole sizes. Like it screws into the car. They changed the size of it, so I can't get it to fit. But
that's not
we'll get
good.
it fixed. We'll be out there just in time for those North Shore swells, which are
they big?
About 18 to 20 feet right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so we're still in the 3:30 Eastern time slot. What do you think of Ole Miss in Alabama? Do you think Ole Miss can cover with the points?
I think so. I think that this Alabama team has looked vulnerable defensively. Yeah. We saw Florida be able to move the ball on them, and I think Ole Miss will be able to move the ball on them as well. Of course, Lane Kiffin was a former Saban assistant. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ole Miss pull the upset here at Tuscaloosa and win this game outright. It's definitely worth a shot. It's not like it's never happened before. Yeah. You look at Nick Saban traditionally, he's run the table only twice at Alabama. And it's usually not a game like the Georgia game or something that he loses. It's normally a game like this or Texas, it's where it's this high-powered offense that comes in and, puts up 50 on them. And I think that's what we see here.
Well, I love that money line plus 450. So, and Alabama is riding a hot streak right now. When was the last time they lost? They're due for one.
They lost. The last time Alabama lost was 2 years ago. They lost to Auburn, I think.
Okay. They're due.
Gus Malzahn.
I'm going to throw something on the money line as soon as we're done here.
Yeah, I'll be with you on that. I like Rutgers, too, against Ohio State at home. Rutgers played Michigan really tough in that game, and Ohio State, the defense has just looked bad. So
yeah,
we haven't even seen them go on the road yet. So,
no.
I mean, their defense has been bad at home. Ohio State and Michigan both have not played a road game yet this season. Both of them go on the road this weekend for the first time. And I think both of them are in trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Rutgers can actually come out and get this upset too, because what we're seeing out of Ohio State isn't the team that I've been cheering for the last couple of years. It's a huge decline on their defensive side of the ball.
those of you joining us late, this is our college football opening lines and opinion show. We do this every Monday where we kind of just go through the schedule. We kind of just kick around informally, take our first look at these games. It doesn't mean this is where we're going to land on Saturday. Some of these games, though, obviously we do like more than others, and I try and let that be known. If you don't catch the whole show here, or if the show's too long for you to sit here and listen to, you could always grab the podcast version, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all of them. Yeah, we're on all those different things. So generally, I just do the morning show on there, but I'm doing these preview shows also. So
that's great. And remember, guys, in the YouTube, if you're coming back and watching it, we are putting those bookmarks. So I'll bookmark the times.
Oof, the college football one, not an easy one either. Did that one last week. But I think Rutgers has a good chance here. I think we saw them not play well in the first half against Michigan last week, and then the second half kind of had their way, had a chance in that game to win it. I think we see them play a little bit better. Ohio State, they played better against Akron, but it was Akron. It's not Greg Schiano defense, that's for sure.
Yeah, I really thought if we were going to see, after they lost to the Ducks, I really thought we were going to see their defense smarten up. We haven't seen it. We just haven't. They don't have the key elements that they used to have. So I'm going to take Rutgers, plus the points, definitely. But sprinkle that money line.
Move to the next time slot, SMU against USF. Got Washington State and Cal, Florida, Kentucky, generally a good one. Got Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas, Vandy, UConn. That looks like a real gem. We've got Penn State, Indiana, Clemson, Boston College. Michigan State's got to be homecoming against Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky playing two Big Ten teams back-to-back. And then Northwestern, Nebraska as well.
Yeah, give me SMU to blow this one out of the water. I think they're going to cover this big. I know it's 20.5 points, but over this South Florida team, I think South Florida is going to struggle to score against them, and SMU is just going to keep racking up the points all day long.
I like the over. I think this game goes over in the first half. 68.
Yeah, 68.
Yep, 10 touchdowns. I like
it.
I like 10 touchdowns. Florida against Kentucky has been a war in recent years, and, of course, Florida coming off of that big win against Tennessee, but Kentucky 4-0 heading into this one. Florida, another lousy road team that goes on the road here for the second time this season, and Kentucky 4-0 against the number as a home dog. They really play well in it. Kentucky's covered 3 of the last 4 meetings of these two, but Florida 5-2 against the number in their last 7 in Lexington. I don't know. It's always like the closer they get to basketball season, Kentucky just gets worse at football.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but it just seems to be the way.
I don't know. I'd be looking at taking Kentucky plus the points in this one. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of their defense. And I think if their defense can keep playing as we've seen them, they can keep this game within a touchdown.
I think they definitely have a
8.5.
If they play the way that they've been playing, pretty close to the vest, I think they have a solid chance.
So do I.
What else do we have in here? We have NC State and La Tech. That's an interesting one at a conference battle. NC State coming off of that defensive war against Clemson. I think this game is much more offensive. And I think once again, we look at an over 55. I like the over in this one as well.
Yeah, I like the over too. That 19.5, I don't have an opinion on right now. I would think NC State can cover that, but you're right. They're just coming off that big win as an underdog, which, I don't know if this line is a little inflated at the moment because they just came off that win. If it was closer to 15, I would like it for NC State. Right now, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that probably take a closer look at it on Saturday's show.
Yeah.
Maybe one of our other cappers will have a stronger opinion about it. Louisiana Tech offense has been absolutely terrible, or defense has been absolutely terrible. So I'm a little worried about that. They've been a sieve, 125th ranked in the nation. Mm-hmm. That's 128 teams. So Texas A&M has been a little disappointing this year, the post-Kellen Mond era. Kellen Mond started at quarterback there for like 10 years, it seemed like. Now he's he's gone to the Vikings, and they're up against Mississippi State in this one. Mississippi State 2-2, losing a heartbreaker at home against LSU last week. More of a heartbreaker because they lost to LSU than the way the game actually laid out. I think the score was a lot closer than what the game was in the end on that one. But that's usually a good one. Texas A&M really not being penalized much for that Arkansas loss, only dropping to 13th in the rankings. I don't know if some other schools would be, in the 20s on something like that, but not Texas.
Yeah, I'd never understand that stuff.
Yeah, me neither. It just seems the preferential treatment.
Yeah. I don't know. This line is low for the total at 47, but I am leaning towards this under when I first look at it.
Yeah, Texas A&M has been involved in a lot of low-scoring games already this season. And I think that's what we'll probably
47 just seems a bit high. Yeah.
I think Baylor against Oklahoma State is also a low-scoring game. I think the total is 49.5. I still like the under in that one, too. Baylor is like a beast on defense. We saw them against Iowa State last week, and, of course, Oklahoma State 4-0 on the season. Both these teams ranked, in the upper third of defenses in college football. And,
this one is going to be a battle.
They only average, like Baylor or Oklahoma State allows averaging less than 20 points per game, and Baylor allows less than 16 points a game. And when it comes to points scored, Oklahoma State only scores less than 26 points a game. So I like the under in this one.
Yeah, I do too. I can see this one coming right down to that last. Whoever has the ball last can control the clock. So I love the under 49.5.
We look at Penn State and Indiana. Indiana disappointing at 2-2 this season. I think the expectations were much higher. Meanwhile, Penn State a perfect 4-0 on the season, knocking off Villanova last week. They got to be thinking Big Ten title at this point. Also, a big revenge factor here against Indiana, who beat them last year. I think Penn State gets a revenge here. 10.5 is a ton, but Indiana just doesn't look to have it this season.
Yeah, I think give me Penn State as well. Revenge factor, you're completely right. They're going to come out nice and strong in this one. The 52.5 could be talked into the over on this one because I think India,
definitely a possibility on the over. Michigan State and Western Kentucky, the Spartans 10.5-point favorites in this one, 4-0 on the season. We have some surprises in the Big Ten of teams that are undefeated, but you look at it's Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, all undefeated. Wisconsin, Ohio State are the ones with the losses. So, a lot of football left to be played, and a lot of these teams still play against each other as the season goes on. But this one, Western Kentucky covered last week against Indiana, and now they go to East Lansing, take on the Spartans.
Give me Michigan State to cover in this one. I think their run game will be too much for Kentucky.
Yeah, I think so too. Western Kentucky has played well, but I think that's just a bad spot. Move into these later games. And we've got, it's nice this week because it's not as many games, which is normally not a good thing. But the thing is, that's because there's no cupcake games in here and everyone's playing against each other. So it's a good one. And so Oregon State against Washington. We saw Oregon State just blast USC last week. LSU against Auburn, UCLA, Arizona State, and then the late one from Oahu, Hawaii hosting Fresno State.
Okay, so right away I'm liking Auburn, the dog on the road against LSU. I think they're going to be able to hold this one in tight. This is another one I'm looking at, a last possession type of game. and I think Auburn can take it.
Yeah, I think so too. This is going to be a little bit of a defensive game. I don't have a lot of faith in Bo Nix. I mean, last week against Georgia State, he wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire. They struggled. They won the game by 11 points, but they were losing the whole way. And that was at home against Georgia State. In these games, I like this under the radar spot for Louisiana against South Alabama. The Raging Cajuns just 1-3 against the number so far this season. I think they're due for a big cover, and South Alabama 3-0 on the season. But, let's take a look at exactly who that was against. South Alabama, I don't see them being able to hang with ULL. They're third in the nation in rush defense at South Alabama, beating Alcorn State, Bowling Green, and Southern Miss. I guess the Bowling Green win looks a little better, but Alcorn State, that's not really a state.
Yeah, this is I'm not touching this at the moment. This is another one I have to dive further into.
I think Louisiana is a much better team than what we've seen. I'm going to take them here. And
okay.
I like UCLA against Arizona State. I like the over in that game as well, 55.5. I think by game time, this could be in the 57, 58 range. And Fresno, a slow start last week against UNLV. Probably play a little better here in Oahu, even though it is a tough road trip. Also, if the Waves are in on the North Shore, who knows what's going to happen by the 5 o'clock local kickoff time. They get out there early with me. It's like,
yeah, what do you see of these football players when they come to Hawaii? Are they actually just, warming up, practicing, getting all their stuff done before they hit this field, or are they out at the nightclubs and at the beach?
I think in general that they they stay focused on the game. It is a business trip. But at the other side, it's still, they're in Hawaii. And I think as you go later into the season is when you see it more. I think here where you really see it is the basketball, when they have the Maui Classic basketball right in Thanksgiving week. And, you see the players out and around. And, at least you have traditionally. It'll be interesting to see how it is this year. Last year, it was canceled. They held the Maui Classic in, Charleston or something.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm liking Fresno in this one to come out. That 10 points, though, just scares me a tiny bit. But the 62.5, though, Mitch, do you think this is going to be a higher scoring one?
I like the under.
Okay.
I like the under. I'm trying to see who's playing in the Maui Invitational this year. And anyone that's headed out to the Maui Invitational, let me know. And I'll go watch a game with you. It's a great place to watch a game. Of course, it's always the Monday through Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. And this year's tournament, Sun, Surf, and Hoops, the Maui Gym Invitational. This year it is Butler, Houston, Notre Dame, Oregon, St. Mary's, Texas A&M, and Wisconsin. So all fun in a little 3,000-seat gym. It's like a high school gymnasium. You get to watch, some of the best teams in the country. So
that would definitely be a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I think Oregon's going to be really good this year again, too. We won a lot of money on the Ducks last year in the tournament. In Wisconsin, too. We won a bunch on them. They beat North Carolina in that opening round. Oh,
that's right.
That was a great day. That was a really good day.
That's awesome.
It's like I think that's the last time Brian and I agreed on a pick. Really, it's like we both really liked Wisconsin. It was like when they announced the bracket. It was like, it was my circle game. I was all excited about it.
Oh, I love it.
It's like I like when I could give out and the beauty of this is, and a lot of the stuff that I do at PickDawgz, and Joe, this is the same, is that we don't, we give out free picks on as much as we possibly can. We don't hold anything back. When I give out premium picks, most of it is usually, unless it's, Monday Night Football is one game, but it's usually it's just, I've given out 70 free picks. These are the ones that I like the best. These are the ones I'm betting. These are the ones I'm betting the most on is what it usually is for me. I know not most other handicappers don't do it that way. lean on it. And, some of the stuff that I've been going over with Joe, she could see, that it's like, I don't do this to sell a pick. I do it because this is what I love to do. And I love, sharing it with millions and millions of people every month and every year. But I'm excited. We're almost to the halfway point of college football this year, which is sad. But, at the same time, more data to work with as we go through this. And, as we get into conference play, get into like that first week of November, a month from now, that's when we really set the hammer down. So, any closing remarks here, Joe, on this week's college football?
No, not at all. I just want to remind everyone we will be back on Friday to discuss these games again in more detail, have more detail for you guys, which ones we're leaning on. And we have our office pool show coming up. So many things this week.
Tomorrow we'll be here at the same time for the NFL show, maybe a little bit earlier. I don't know. My schedule is tight. I can make a million excuses for it, but I just totally spaced right through the time. It happens, but
yeah, we both did.
It happens. But the bottom line is we still showed up and did the show, and it's kind of how we do it at PickDawgz. We're not this regimented, by the book, and everybody does this, so we're going to do it like this, and kind of just do it is in a way to reach the most amount of people. So you don't have to listen to this the day of. It's here all week. And like Joe said, we'll be back on Friday if you're a college football fan to go back over these games. We might even have a guest on that show, or several. And then, of course, Saturday we have our giant college football show where we have, a bunch of cappers from PickDawgz. And I think this is our first year doing that format. And I think we have so many cappers that are excited about it. The show is actually running longer and longer. So we'll have to figure that out too with our cappers. Probably just get them to stick to the topic instead of whatever I'm talking about, which has nothing to do with football.
But remember, too, with those timestamps, if you have a favorite capper that you want to listen to, you can actually go into the timestamps and just click on their time.
Yep, just click on Mitch. That's the way to do it.
Exactly. Well, you get Mitch and I for the whole thing, so there you go. You get our input on all of them.
Joe's Brian's favorite capper.
Yeah, I am. I need a pin.
You need to get a
Brian's
shirt.
Favorite capper.
Or you should get you like one of those. I'm gonna get a shirt
and surprise him once, like Monday morning or something.
Wear the Brian's favorite capper shirt.
Yeah.
This is Joe on Brian's favorite capper.
Oh, I'm doing it now. I'm gonna get that shirt made up.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Have an awesome day. Questions, comments, everything, just leave it in the comments, and I check them out every day, so do that. And then of course we'll see you guys tomorrow morning and every morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, except on the weekends when we see at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day. Have a great night. We'll see you guys halftime. Monday Night Football tonight. It is the Cowboys and the Eagles NFC East battle. Make it an awesome night.